talking about? Hold up, wait a minute, what you talking about? Wanna be given the blame? I'm a fraud. 'Cause I'm a true psychopath. When you're lost, take your trust. That's me. That's so sick. I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psycho. Ooh, I'm a fraud, call me a liar. A true psychopath, don't love me. When you're lost, take your trust. Yeah, that's me. Oh, that's me, that's me, that's me. Yes, I'm a fraud. Call me a liar. A true psychopath.
Hello, everyone. How are we all today? Hold on a second. I want to look at something really quick. Oh, I was right. I'm a little thrown off about the days, but I was thinking that today was Wednesday, so let me do it for you. Ready? Mike. Guess what day it is? Hump day. All right. Happy Wednesday to everybody. We are 5 days away from Christmas. I hope you guys have got it all under control and you don't do like I used to do so many years in a row. Wait until Christmas Eve to wrap presents for 4 children. That is something I 10 out of 10 do not recommend. I don't know why I used to do that to myself every freaking year. And the thing of it is, I had like, I didn't just go Christmas shopping Christmas Eve. Usually I waited till the 23rd, depending on payday. But even if I would have spaced it out between the 23rd and the 24th, it would have been smarter. But not me. No. I would just, all night I would sit up. And then the kids would be, I will say this. All of my kiddos were not like super early risers for Christmas morning. They were usually like 7 o'clock. Now I remember very distinctly one year waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning as a kid to open up presents because that's how excited I was. But that only happened one time. But my kiddos did not do that. They were good. 7 o'clock, and so they were good that way. Adrian, there were some years that I did have to wait until Christmas Eve. When my oldest 3 were little, I did. I had to do that. By the time we had little mini Bendy, Lou, although if you really want to know the truth of it, my oldest daughter actually is my mini me. She does look exactly like me. Mini Bendy looks like me, but she also has a blend of her dad in there, although we are similarly featured. So we have, similar features. So we both have dark hair, dark eyes. Well, he has hazel eyes, but anyway, that's not the point. But she's more of a blend of the two of us. But my oldest daughter, I remember when she was a baby, having her pictures done and going over to, my mom's. And my mom had my sisters and our baby pictures up. And there is a baby picture of she and I where we look like we could have been twins. It was crazy how much she looked like me. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I get it. Christmas is a stressful time, and it's really a shame because it shouldn't be. It's really supposed to be about, being with your family and, Christmas. I have personally always believed, as far as the presents go, Christmas is for children. And, it's exciting watching them open up their gifts. The older they get, though, the harder it gets and the more expensive it gets. And it's stressful. And I get it. I absolutely get it. And I've been there many, many years. I mean, for Pete's sake, I had 3 children by the time I was 21 years old. I mean, let me just tell you right now, well, we're not rolling in money, faux show. So anyway, I want to thank you guys all for being here and remind you just really quickly, if you have not done so already, if you would please give your girl a thumbs up, I would greatly appreciate it. And while I pull up this other tab so I can show you guys what I want to show you tonight, let's hear a word from our sponsor right quick.
And Kai, when you're on Jen Lou's channel, what do you do with the like button?
Smash, smash, smash! Yeah.
Okay. Hang on just one second. Now, I want to go ahead and give everybody just a quick rundown of what we're going to be doing tonight. So let me copy this really quick and put this in the chat. Tonight, we're going to be watching a couple of things. The first thing we're going to be watching is Nick's Interrogation, and that is on this channel. And I'm going to put the channel in the description. I don't know why I didn't do it before, but I apologize. That it's Crime for Dummies. They also have a Facebook page. It's actually a really good Facebook group. I'm a member over there. So you guys should definitely go and check that out. The girl that runs it is super cool. So I would highly, highly recommend that group on Facebook if you're a Facebooker. The other thing that we're going to be watching is an interview. And I want to tell you guys right now, before I start playing this video, that I would encourage everybody to use earbuds. And here's why. I'm going to put the closed captions on. And for the most part, the closed captioning is correct in their in what they are picking up as far as the audio goes. But there is a part at the very, very end, and it, in my opinion, is very, very important. And the closed captions are not accurate for that. However, I did listen to it before I came live, and just to refresh myself. And I kind of have I know what he says because I have noise canceling headphones on, so it's really, and I had to turn it way up. So, but I can make out what he says. If you guys want me to, I will pause after he speaks and tell you what he said, for everybody in the audience who might not be wearing earbuds. Now, I don't know if it'll help for it to be on, if you're watching it on your TV. I don't know. Because I haven't watched Nick's Interrogation on my TV in quite some time. But anyway, that's the plan for tonight. So I'll do that. What else was I going to tell you? All right. Also, I want you guys to know that just to brace yourselves, because obviously we're going to be talking about, Dee Dee's murder, and it's not insanely graphic. to be quite honest with you, which is, good. But there are some parts that might make people uncomfortable. And so I'm just putting it out there to you guys know what you can handle better than me. And I encourage everybody to, do whatever it is they got to do. Okay. No judgment here. Jen, don't judge, just the criminals. All right, so let me hit the share screen, and without further ado, we will get into it. Oh, speaking of, I had a little bit of an epiphany when I was making my appeal video for a better way to do this Letitia and the Volturi video. So I'm just going to make some quick adjustments, and I want to have that out to you guys tomorrow. So thank you, Amelia. I love it when I get positive feedback like that. Yes, because used to be, and Amelia will tell you because she is a day oneer. It used to be I would give the trigger warning after the triggering thing was said. And so I've done much better about that. All right. So now I was also, before I forget, I want to thank Glowbug for joining members. Thank you so much. I believe, let me see, because it doesn't show me on StreamYard. Let me go back and try to, here, I can do it from here. Hold on a second. Okay. I want to thank Glowbug and AJ McCleary both for joining membership. Welcome to the Kookaloos, you guys. I appreciate it. All right. So I pretty much rambled enough. I think it's time to get into it. This is one of those feedbacks I get a lot on my videos is that I wait too long to start the actual content. And so I'm going to work on being better. So without further ado, I'm going to skip through this. This is the group that Crime for Dummies runs, but I don't know about their music. So I'm going to skip ahead. Okay. Now, I want you guys to pay attention here because this is important. Now, you will see on Crime for Dummies channel that there are 5 videos of Nick's interrogation, and those are the edited ones, okay? And they're edited for time, okay? So they break the 15 hours down into 5 parts, all right? Then there is another one, and the reason I didn't use this one is just because the closed captions weren't available. But then there's the other one that is actually the full 15 hours of his interrogation, but some parts are sped up like 20 times. But the main thing that I want you guys to take notice of is now this specific part has been trimmed. This is just when he actually talks to the detective. Okay. All the waiting is over. He's talking to the detective. I'll tell you that I believe that the interview itself is, let's see, it's 2 hours and 30 minutes and 15 seconds. Okay. So 13 hours of him sitting there. And this is how he was. Okay. And this was very different from the way that Gypsy was treated. Okay. And what I find interesting about that is, and I will have to go and actually watch the trial because it's not in the probable cause affidavit as far as they knew that the post on Gypsy and Dee Dee's joint Facebook page came from Gypsy. But I don't know when they knew that. And so when they secured the warrant for Facebook, okay, then it gives them the IP address, which is how they track down Nicholas, because actually the internet at his house, he lived there with his mom and his stepdad and his sibling. But when they so, when they were able to access Facebook, that's how they knew how to track him down. So when they got there, I mean, this was full on, it, it was SWAT, for lack of a better word. I mean, they were, they showed up in force and ordered Nick out of the house. Um, and I think by the way that they handled it, that whole situation, I don't think that they knew quite yet what role Gypsy played in all of this, or any, because what they were hearing is, this is a sick girl. She needs her wheelchair. She didn't take any medication, all of that. All of that from friends, neighbors that were very, very concerned about Gypsy. And I do remember in a couple of the documentaries done on this that the detectives and the cops that were interviewed said that they were shocked when Gypsy walked out of that house on her, under her own power without a wheelchair. And so, but there was a distinct difference in the way that they treated Nick and the way that they treated Gypsy from the beginning. Nick sat in this room just like this, and they fed him. I mean, they weren't cruel to him or anything like that. It's just that he was in an actual interrogation room. Gypsy was on a couch, for Pete's sake. She slept. So I just wanted to point that out, that in the very beginning of this case, they were treated very, very differently. All right, so here we go.
So worried, sick about Gypsy.
Okay, we're going to talk about it. Well, I'm going to talk to you, and I guess you said you wanted to talk to me, so
Yeah,
all
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
All right, I'm sure you have a lot of questions.
yeah,
You probably want to know what's going on with Gypsy.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to answer your questions for you. Did you get something to eat?
No, they offered that to me.
Oh, I forgot to tell you guys this. In that 13 hours while Nick was waiting, he must have asked and checked on Gypsy at least 15 to 20 times, at least. Let me tell you the grand total of times that Gypsy asked about Nick, like 3. And I'm being generous there because the only time I actually remember her saying actually, I don't even think she actually ever asked about him. She just said, I want to know what's going on, or I wonder what's going on. She didn't actually ask after him. So I'm just being generous with the 3, but that's kind of what she did. He actually asked if she was okay, if she was upset, all those things. He was worried about her. All right, sorry, I'm not going to interrupt anymore. Here we go.
But you didn't eat?
I ate something before that.
Okay, what did you eat?
They're called ham sandwiches. I guess they offer that with mayonnaise as well.
Oh, do you like mayonnaise?
Well, I don't like them with bologna though, so it's just the mayonnaise. But not when I just left alone because I've been like so worried, sick about Gypsy.
Okay, we're going to talk about Gypsy.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Gypsy, okay?
Okay.
Because I know you got a lot of questions, and I want to answer your questions, and I want to talk to you and see what's going on. Okay. Before I do, I'm going to read you your Miranda rights. Have you ever been read your Miranda rights before?
It sounds familiar.
Sometimes they do it on TV.
Okay, so we're going to skip this part because, I mean, come on, we all know what the Miranda rights are. She's going to have him read it. He's going to, sign it, all of the things. Now, I will tell you this. I do remember from the trial that when she was on the stand testifying, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that she testified that she was aware when she entered that interrogation room that Nick was on the spectrum. Okay. But I cannot remember, but I know she was asked. I just can't remember her answer, whether she had any special training or knowledge on how to interrogate somebody on the spectrum. I feel like the answer is no, But I just keep that in the back of your mind for stuff that we're going to be going over for the trial. Okay. All right. So we're going to skip through the Miranda rights. We know how all this goes. All right. Let's see.
My dad gave me his duffel bag. It's a marble. You know the cigarette company Marble.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what kind of it is. It's one of those kind of duffel bags.
Okay. And so you get to Springfield, so you're excited, you want to see her. So then what do you do?
I text her, and then she there's obviously a lot of like free public Wi-Fi spots around there. So
Okay.
I don't know where she texted me from, but she was able to find somewhere to text me from.
Okay.
And after that, we would periodically keep in touch.
Okay.
But
And so you're texting from your phone?
Yeah.
What is your cell phone number?
It's 262
Uh-huh.
501 9008. Okay,
what is hers?
She wasn't using her phone number.
What was she using?
She was using her Yahoo ID, which I have no clue what it is.
Is that like Yahoo Messenger or what?
Yeah, it's one of the messenger things they use texting for.
So you can, from your phone, you can send her a message to that, and then she can send you a message back and forth, and you guys can chat with each other.
Yeah.
Okay. So she tells you that she's got kicked out. You're coming here, and you're coming to see her, and you're going to find her. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay. And so you guys start communicating like that, and then what happens?
And then it wasn't until the 10th is when I was able to actually get her to meet me.
Okay.
What happened was I told her exactly where I was on the actual, what road it was and everything else, where the actual hotel was.
Okay.
And after that, she didn't really text me for a long time. I was confused on why.
Okay.
And then as I'm going outside my hotel room,
Uh-huh.
I end up running into her.
Okay.
As I'm trying to go get an actual like soda.
Okay. So you're going to get a soda and you just run right into her?
It was right on the same level that my hotel room was.
Okay. And then what happens?
And then I realized it's her, so I'm like, okay, I guess I opened my door back up, and then because apparently she packed because she knew her mom was going to kick her out.
Okay.
And I had to bring all of her clothes and everything else back into my hotel room, so this way she had somewhere to put it.
Okay.
And then after that, I asked if she wanted to get a soda with me, and then she walked with me.
Where'd you go get a soda at?
It was an vending machine that was outside.
Okay.
That the hotel usually provides.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then me and her pretty much stayed inside the hotel for pretty much the entire time for because the thing is, it was my bus ticket. It was a round trip. So at first I thought I'd be able to get her back since she wanted to move in with me, obviously, because that's just when she's up here. But when she got hold me, and then me and her actually went to the bus station. I learned that she actually couldn't get a bus with the same one that I already had. I had to redo my actual schedule.
Okay.
So after that, I did it. I got it renewed for pretty much nothing because it was free.
Okay.
And then I helped her with her bus ticket afterward.
Okay. Did you give her money for it, or?
No, I paid for it for her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then because the one that was I had to change, because of that one was changed, we ended up going back to the hotel.
Okay.
Just to rest,
okay.
Pretty much.
Okay.
And we ordered food, and we were pretty much just resting there because we didn't know what else to do because it was.
Where did you order food from?
One place was Domino's.
Okay, and they delivered it to your room?
Yep.
Okay, so Domino's delivered to your room, and where else?
And the other was Papa John's.
Papa John's, okay. Yep. And then did they both deliver on the 11th?
No.
Oh, okay, so
we were on separate days.
Okay.
One time was on the 10th.
Okay.
And the other was on the 11th. And then when I had to leave on the 12th because that's what I rescheduled mine and hers for.
Okay.
We were able to get the bus, but after we got on the bus, we had trouble getting all the way up here, pretty much because the bus in Chicago it was full, so we had to wait for a second bus.
Okay.
And yeah, it was frustrating.
Yeah, at least you guys were together, huh?
Yeah, I agree.
That's good. Okay. So did you guys go out anywhere to eat?
We were thinking about doing it, but we figured it was safe because my mom, she's a worry freak. If she knows that I'm in another state, she's gonna move. Apparently, for what she told me, she was a basket case while I was down there.
Okay.
Because she was so worried about me. But she told me to stay in the hotel, and that's pretty much why I did it.
Okay.
She was just.
Because she told you to?
Yeah, because she feared for my safety.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So up until this point, hey Nay, hey Carol Claus, hello to everybody who's just joining in from the Jade Raid. Okay, up until this point, Nick is actually being like 92% honest. Okay. What he has withheld is that the real reason he was up there is because they had been planning for 3 years to murder Dee Dee Blanchard. That's the truth. Okay. And then, so the whole kicking her mom, kicking her out and all that stuff, that is a story that, from the text messages, it seems like, Nick actually came up with, because that is the story that Nick told his mother. That is that is why Nick said he was going to Springfield, and he had asked his mom if he could bring Gypsy back to Waukesha with him. And she said yes, and this is the story that he told. Okay. So I just wanted to let you guys have a little bit of that foundation. We're going to skip forward a little bit so that we get to the actual interrogation part. Okay. I mean, the actual, what we came for, what we wanted to hear. So just give me a sec.
Do that.
Because she felt it was her only way to be with.
Oh, here we go. We were right there.
Now, Gypsy did tell me. I
understand. My mom picked us up.
Oh, okay. So then would you call mom and say, hey, we're here, come pick us up?
Yeah.
And so is that the first time that your mom ever met your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess she's your girlfriend. Gypsy's your girlfriend.
She is. Yeah, she is.
And you love her?
Oh, do I ever?
You love her a lot?
I was bummed my eyes out waiting for this moment where I can talk to you.
Okay.
Because I was so worried about her.
Yeah. I think she loves you too.
No, she doesn't. I have to disagree with that right there. And, I want you guys to, this is why I put the link in so that you guys can go and watch this without my commentary. But I'm not going to front. After the Reeves content situation, I'm still a little shook from it. I mean, I'm not as anxious as I was because I was successful in the appeal. However, what I will tell you guys is this. It's not about just fair use. Okay. If your content is similar, it's not about just commentary. You have to make such a significant change to the material that you're covering that it actually adds value. And so at this point, I probably will talk way more than I usually do, but I'm just warning you guys now, this is why. Hi, Jamita, I love you too. Gypsy, this is just my opinion. Okay. And it's not based on anything other than the facts of the case and the behaviors that Gypsy displayed. Okay. If you I did cover Gypsy's interrogation, but if you missed it, if it's on my channel, but if you want to watch her interrogation in full, it is also on Crime for Dummies. I put I put the link in the chat earlier, and I will go back and put this in the description. But based on Gypsy's behavior, I don't believe that she ever loved Nick. During her interrogation, at first, she did try to lie, right? And then after the detective was like, after he gave the snowball analogy, that lies are like snowballs and that people make mistakes, and that he's given her a piece of, metaphorically given her a piece of paper and a pencil, and she has an opportunity now to erase the story, to erase the lies and start back over. But I mean, he makes this analogy like 11 billion times. I'm serious. And then she finally like hops to it. But what she does is, it's real interesting to watch her, because it's not an actual outright, she doesn't actually come out and say that Nick is abusive to her in any way, or that he roughed her up, or any of that stuff. What she does is, the detective asks her, because they're going through it, and Gypsy says that they had relations, and he asks about her relationship with Nick, and she sort of like motions her head over to her arm, and there's like bite marks and whatnot. And it's fascinating to watch her, because the detective, I can't, the detective is harder to read than Gypsy is. I can't actually tell, to be quite honest, if he was buying it or not, but he came across as if he was to Gypsy. And really, that's what matters. He's not trying to sell the story to me. He's trying to sell his concern to her, and she bought it. And so then she felt a little bit more like she could trust him, as it were. And then she laid it on even thicker. And you know what, Lori, you're right. The truth is, Nick, and this is what Lori, this is for everybody on the replay who might be, have their phone in their pocket and just cleaning. Lori says, I'm sorry, but Nick could have picked her up in the middle of the night and they could have left and never looked back, in my opinion, of course. And I have to agree with you. That they absolutely could have. Look, Dee Dee was out like a light. She wasn't waking up. Gypsy could have left. Okay. But I suspect, and when we go through Nick's trial, you'll see a little bit more of what I'm talking about. But what I suspect is that, and that it was what Nick wanted to do. Let's just go. But Gypsy said, no, she'll come and get me. She'll make my life miserable, on and on and on, right? She's never going to let us be together. And so, yeah. And we cannot discount how Nick's being on the spectrum factored into his decision making, right? Because Nick doesn't make decisions the way that you or I would. Okay. He's very literal. He when he makes a promise, it's like you can't break a promise. If you make a promise, you have to make her promise. Oh, well, you know what's interesting about that, Kathy? You're right. She did run away. Do you know what she brought with her? She brought with her identification that told her real age. Okay. And the truth of the matter is, this case is not one of those cases where there is a clear victim and a clear perpetrator. This case is many, many, many shades of gray. And the truth of the matter is that all of the things that people say in the chat, whether it is pro-Gypsy or anti-Gypsy, are all true, because Gypsy is a human being and she's multifaceted. So all of those things, she can be those simultaneously. Do you know what I'm saying? And so in this situation, it's not black or white. There are many, many shades of gray with this. Let's see, she will have, and let's see, it's 2023. So she got 10 years. She had to serve 80% of the time. So she's done 8.5 years. And you're right, Crime Crochet Cafe. The thing is that this is what gets me about that. Do I believe that Gypsy was a victim of Dee Dee's? Yes. Do I also believe that there is an element of complicity with Gypsy and the schemes that Dee Dee ran? I do. It's very difficult to say because the truth of the matter is the other half of that relationship is no longer living. So all we have is one person's side of the story. And the truth of the matter is that one person, though she may be a victim, at the end of the day, she plotted for 3 years to kill her mom. And Nick was not the only person she tried to get to do it. So it's very difficult. And that's why this case, like I said, is shades of gray, because there's a lot of moving parts to it. And then there's the relationship between Dee Dee and Gypsy is very, very complex. And like I said, we only have one person's side of all of it. And while there are family members of Dee Dee's and Gypsy's that give a glimpse into the kind of person that Dee Dee was as she was growing up, over the years, when they were living in Louisiana, Gypsy and Dee Dee continued to move farther and farther away from her family. And that is because that was the sort of start of some of these schemes. You know what I mean? So it's hard. All right, let's listen to Nick, and then we'll keep talking. All right, here we go.
We spoke to her and for a long time.
Oh, let me say this too. And this might be difficult for you guys to watch because I'm gonna rewind it a little bit more so you catch the very beginning of what this detective says to Nick. I find the thing that troubles me about this interrogation is that, yes, Nick is over 18. And yes, he can waive his rights and speak with detectives. But I don't think that Nick understands exactly what completely understands what his rights are. And the reason I say that is because if you go back and you watch the 13 hours, and they're sped up, so it's not like you're not going to be sitting watching him for 13 hours. They're way sped up. But when you go back and watch that, it takes Nick several hours. He's sitting there for quite some time, having to go to the bathroom, and doesn't even realize that he can ask. And see, that to me is an indicator of somebody who can grasp some of the concepts, but not all of the concepts. So yeah, there's this, the way that this detective does it. I don't know. It's a little manipulative, and it's not, I'm not that fond of it, but she's effective. So I'm not going to judge her too much, but here we go.
So then you guys get on the bus and then you guys get here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ride a Greyhound each time you went?
Yeah.
All the way
yeah.
up to buses?
There was no other bus station.
So where's the bus station stop at here?
Here it stopped in Milwaukee.
Okay. And then how did you get from Milwaukee to your house in Big Bend?
My mom picked us up.
Oh, and then do you call mom and say, hey, we're here, come pick us up?
Yep.
And so is that the first time that your mom ever met your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess she's your girlfriend if she's your
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she is.
And you love her?
Oh, the whatever.
You love her a lot?
I was bummed my eyes out waiting for this moment where I can talk to you.
Okay.
Because I was so worried about her.
Yeah. I think she loves you too. We spoke to her and for a long time. And I'm kind of thinking maybe she loves you a little more than you love her, because you're sitting here telling me things that I know aren't true. And then she's sitting here telling me things that are true. And if you really love her, I don't think you would want her in that situation. Okay. The situation that she's in right now. And so we're going to go down two paths here. Okay. And that is just, you're going to have to be honest with me, because if you love her, if you love Gypsy, then you're not going to let Gypsy get in trouble without you being there to help her. Okay.
I understand.
And so what you need to know is that Gypsy told us everything.
Okay.
We didn't talk to Gypsy all this time and not get everything.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so, Nick, I want you to do the honorable thing, okay, for Gypsy and for your family, okay, because we know what happened.
Okay, I need to pause it right here. So, a couple of things. First of all, Gypsy did not tell them everything. That's not true, but they're allowed to lie to you. And I want to, let me start this really quick because I'm going to come back to this comment. All right. Gypsy didn't tell them everything. Thank you, Sam. Thank you so much, babe. That's so generous. I appreciate that. You don't have to do that, babe, but I appreciate it. Okay. First of all, Gypsy didn't tell them everything. Okay. Not even, she didn't even tell them half of everything. Okay. She might have told them like 1/16 of everything. All right. Now, this phrase here, do the honorable thing. Okay. It isn't like while the detectives were flying from Missouri to Wisconsin that they weren't doing their homework. Okay. They were looking at, they had access at that point to the Facebooks, all of the Facebooks. Okay. And they were reading and looking at them. And there is something there. Nick uses those phrases frequently. He speaks in a very gallant, if you will, sort of way, a lot about honor and promises and betrothed and, just like that. Okay. And so when she uses that phrase, that's not how she speaks. Nick, that is how Nick speaks. And she knows that, which is why she says that to him. And then watch what happens. All right, here we go.
And I want to give you the opportunity to start over and to tell the truth. Okay. And the truth is not what you've told me.
How much have I told you to believe is the truth?
I believe the part that you got on a bus and went to Springfield.
Okay.
I believe that's true.
Okay.
That you ordered food to eat. I believe that's true.
Okay.
I believe that it's true that at some point Gypsy came back with you to the motel. I believe that's true.
Yeah,
I believe Gypsy got on a bus and came here with you. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
That's all I believe.
Okay.
Okay? Because you missed a lot in there. And I understand that you missed a lot because you don't know what to say because you don't know what Gypsy said. I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll tell you right now, Gypsy did tell me everything. She told us everything. She told us about you coming there. She told us what happened to Mom. She told us about your guys' relationship. She told us about the cleanup. She told us about all of that. Okay? So do you want to do the right thing by Gypsy if you love her?
No, the truth is I worship her. So
I know you
there's
do.
no way I wouldn't do it.
I know.
Thank her.
I know you do. I believe you do. But this is the point where you're going to prove whether you do or not, okay? Me and you talk.
Okay.
Okay? Because it's not fair. It's not fair to Gypsy for her to be honest and you to lie, okay?
Well, I mean, Let's be honest. Gypsy wasn't honest at all. Okay, now before I forget, and I will forget, so let me get back to these. There are a couple of things that I start. Okay, one is this comment, and this is from Mayla's mom. I hope I'm saying that correctly. And she says, Dee Dee's own father flushed her ashes. Okay, that's not true. I know where it comes from. It is something that he said in the Mommy, Dead, and Dearest documentary. It was a joke. When they were called, because he would be he would text after Gypsy, right? Which Gypsy was not in a position at that point to collect her mother's ashes. He would have been Dee Dee's next of kin because she and Rod were not married, and that's how it goes. So he didn't want the responsibility of paying for Dee Dee's ashes, and they did not have a great relationship at that point. And he said, just flush them. But he was being facetious. The truth of the matter is, it is Dee Dee's sister who has Dee Dee's ashes. And so there's that one. Okay. And then this one. And this is an excellent point that Neat Noodle makes. Neat Noodle said, but if he wasn't placed under guardianship upon turning 18 in Wisconsin, they must have determined he could handle these situations. They may have been wrong, but that's the law in Wisconsin. And you are correct. That is the law in Wisconsin. And what I will tell you is this. Nick, growing up, was not given the ideal support system from his mom and his dad, and I think that they will both admit that. They split when he was young. They had a tumultuous relationship as a couple, and they have very different worldviews on many things, including Nick's diagnosis, how best to treat Nick's diagnosis, whether Nick should take medication or not. They're polar opposites when it comes to that. And when you have a scenario like that, it's very difficult. If you're not on the same page while you're raising a child, it's not good for the kid. I mean, that's just, I don't know another way to say it. It makes it hard to raise children if both parents aren't on the same page. And when I say parents, I mean the two people that are raising the child. I'm not giving gender roles. I'm simply stating whoever is raising the children. If the parents are not on the same page, it's very problematic and it leads to confusion. And when you have a parent who, because of their belief system, believes that you don't need medication for anything ever, it's problematic. And the truth is that there was a point before this happened that Nick was placed on an involuntary hold. He had a psychotic episode. He was placed on antipsychotic medication, and his father told him he didn't need it, and Nick stopped taking it. So, that is some of his background going on it. And so it isn't like the state of Wisconsin. I mean, he went through high school, he had evaluations and stuff while he was, as he was in school, he had the, the IEP program that they have in schools and public schools. He was part of that. But, when it comes to, unless there's such a deficit at home, the state doesn't like to step in. And Little Red Riding Hood, I'll tell you this. After his trial and he was convicted, he did write to people, and where he was after his trial was similar to Chris Watts, where Chris Watts is at Dodge, which is a diagnostic facility. And one of the things that they do there is evaluate people and determine where they're going to be placed within the prison system, which prison they're going to go to, and when they get to that prison, where they will be classified, all those things. He went through that, okay? And I do think that they were wanting him to be on medication, but at that point, his contact with his mother was virtually non-existent. I don't think that he spoke to her very much while he was awaiting trial, and certainly after conviction, I don't think he spoke to her at all. But he was in constant contact with his father. His father was basically his only support system from his family. And his father does not believe in medication. And if they were telling Nick that they thought he ought to be medicated, but his dad would tell him not to take it. And yes, Becky, there was an appeal. So we're going to talk about that. We got to get to the trial first. Okay, let me see. Kathy, you're never difficult, babe. Hold on, let me scroll up and see what you wrote. Trying to find it. Oh, you're not, okay, I see. Is it this comment that you're not trying to be difficult? You're not difficult, ever. The fact of the matter is, it's exactly what Neat Noodle said. Legality and ethics are two different things. And ethically, it wasn't a good idea, and I don't agree with it. But legally, there's nothing that did she, Jamie? I did not know that. Nick's mother passed away a few years ago, sadly. Wow, I didn't know that. I haven't kept up like I should. But yeah, legal. Yeah, it's just, I feel bad for Nick too, Melissa Jade. I do too. All right, let's keep going. All right, because we're never going to get through this if I keep telling you guys the backstory on everything.
So what I want to know is, can you tell me this first?
Okay.
Did Gypsy know that you were going to kill her mother?
Honestly.
Oh, sorry.
She asked me to.
Okay. So Gypsy knew you were going to do it because Gypsy asked you to.
Yes.
Why did she ask you to do that?
Because she felt it was her only way to be with me.
Okay. She felt like if you killed the mom, then that's the only way she could be with you.
Yeah. Do
you know the mom's name?
I don't know her real name. All I know is that she goes by Dee Dee.
Dee Dee. Okay. So, has Gypsy asked you to kill anyone else?
No.
Okay. She just wanted you to kill her mom.
Yes.
Okay. And how did Gypsy ask you to do that? Did she ask you to do that in a text message, on a Facebook, or in person, or something different?
Well, it was more than once. I mean, you had Facebook. We would talk about it on there. We would talk about it even on Texas.
Okay. And what kind of things would Gypsy tell you that she wanted you to do?
She wanted. The thing is that I know she loves her mom a lot. I know she does.
Yeah.
I had I was up here with her, and she felt guilty about the whole situation. I had to make sure she was safe. And meaning, like, I had to make sure she felt like she could be comforted
by you. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because, and then the truth is, okay, I'll admit it. I did actually stab her mom. I will admit it.
I know. Okay.
The only reason I did it is because I did it for me and her. That's the real reason I did it. I would have never did it if it was not for me and her.
Okay. So you wouldn't have done it if somebody else would have asked?
No.
Okay.
There's no way I would have did it for anyone else.
Okay, so you just
I
did it.
truly do worship her to the point that there's nothing I want to do for her.
Okay. Okay.
Now that is key right there. That he truly does worship her to the point that there is nothing that he wouldn't do for her. That's key. And I want to answer this question from Crocheting Bammy. Does law enforcement have all the social media and messages at this point? I don't know if they have their text messages at this point yet, but they have their social media. And so they are aware of some of the things. So I mean, when they come in to talk with Nick, there are things that facts of the case that they know that they know independently. It's not like I said, they did their homework on the plane. And so they do know some of the things. And so but I will say both of these detectives had a similar style, although the detective who interviewed Gypsy was an interrupter. And the minute that she would lie, he would essentially call her on it. And I wish that he would not have done that. I wish that he would not have interrupted her so much. I think that there is something to be said for allowing her to spin a web. And I do think that if that had been allowed, I am really curious if she would have gotten the sentence that she got. And that's just how I feel. And then I want to address this. Okay. You are correct. Mayla's mom says, I have a high functioning ASD child. He knows right from wrong. Nick knew right from wrong. That was never a question. The argument that was raised at trial by his defense attorneys was that that being on the spectrum, it made it difficult for Nick to form the definition of deliberation under the law at the time of the crime. And that was really their argument. That is really why Nick pled not guilty. It's because he was charged with first-degree murder. And his attorneys and his psychiatrist felt like, due to him being on the spectrum, he could not form the required deliberation under the law, the way that the law describes deliberation. So he knew that taking a life was wrong. Okay. But did he understand that he had another choice? And that was really the crux of their argument at trial, is that because he was on the spectrum, and it's not just, it's because he was on the spectrum, but it's called a spectrum for a reason, right? Because there are, again, different variants, right? Is that the right word? I don't, there are some people who with autism are nonverbal. Some are verbal. Some are high functioning. It varies from person to person. Okay. There are some things that are the same, but other things vary. Right. And so with Nick, after being evaluated by this psychiatrist over time, realized that the way that Nick's thinking what he reasoned is that Nick, hold on a minute, I'm coughing. After his evaluation, I'm sorry, you guys, his psychiatrist felt that the way that Nick's mind works, the way that his thinking is that Nick, in the moment when he went to the house, at the time of being at the house, being handed the gloves, being handed the knife, did not think that he had another choice. And so, I think that being neurodivergent is like anything else. As human beings, we're all individuals. We all have the same similarities. We have a skeletal system, we have a brain, all of that kind of thing, right? Those parts of us are the same, right? But our abilities, our likes, our dislikes, everything about us is individual. And so, so it's the same thing. It's no different, I don't think, within the spectrum. And bottom line is that, and this was a huge deal when Nick was on trial, and I will never forget how it was in the Facebook groups. A lot of people did not understand the argument that the defense was trying to make, and they did not understand what his expert witness, which was the psychiatrist, what he was trying to explain. And I was watching it as it happened, the trial. And while I was watching the trial, I was in the Facebook groups, and I was very worried because you can sort of gauge what the jury might be thinking if you're, when you're listening to these kinds of groups, right? You're reading the comments and whatnot, and it was going over their head. It was never about not understanding right from wrong. That was never the argument. So yes, he was diagnosed before all of this. Yes. So, that's just, that was their argument. And I worried because when I saw those comments, I thought, oh my gosh, this is likely what the jury is thinking, that they're trying to argue that Nick doesn't understand right from wrong. And that wasn't it. Okay, let's keep going. We've played like 3.5 minutes of this whole thing, and I've talked for 800 hours. So let's play a little bit more.
Well, I think you've proved that, right?
Yes.
I think that you proved that you do what she asked you to do, if that's the case, if she did ask you.
Yeah, she did ask me.
Okay, and she asked you more than once?
Did
Did she ask you while you were here?
She asked me more than once because what happened was, at first she wanted, because the thing was is that she wanted to do it herself, but she was too, what's the word, not cautious, it's, I guess skittish is the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
She didn't want to actually do it
Okay.
because she couldn't live with herself doing it.
Okay.
And as for me, I honestly, to this day, I still feel guilty about it.
Okay.
I do.
Right.
Because I learned so much about her mom after she told me and more about it after actually being able to live with her for a little while.
Right.
I actually realized how great of a mom she was.
Okay. So it kind of makes you feel a little guilty.
No. I feel a lot more guilt than that.
Okay. Because so Gypsy's telling you about her mom.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah, how
Okay.
she is and her accomplishments and all. Yeah.
Okay. So when you came here to Springfield, that was your purpose to come here so that way you could do that for Gypsy?
Yes, because I wanted to be with her and I
Okay.
wanted.
So did Gypsy know you was coming here then to go ahead and kill Dee?
Yes.
Okay. So why did you guys decide that you would stab her instead of shooting her with a gun or poisoning her or beating her with a bat? Like, why did you guys decide stabbing would be what you did to kill her?
Honestly, the thing is we really wouldn't have known how to poison her. Honestly, we wouldn't have known how to.
Okay.
I mean, she looked up multiple times of how to do it because she wanted to find the quickest way to do it.
Okay, so like she looked up on the internet,
Yes.
like how to kill her mom?
Yes.
Okay. And so she was looking for the easiest way to do it?
Yes, this
Okay.
way she would be in less pain. She wanted
Okay.
her mom's death to be quick.
Okay, so you wouldn't have known how to do the poisoning. And so, again, why did we choose the knife? Like, why
The
did you
reason why we chose the knife is because I guess she thought that it'd be quicker if she bled out quickly.
Okay. Now, did she tell you that, or is that something you think she thought?
Most likely, that's what I would think she would.
Okay, but she didn't tell you to
No.
stab her because she'd bleed out quickly.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I figured she would think because
Okay.
it makes sense. More holes, faster they go away, and the faster they are at peace.
Okay. So the more holes you put into the body?
Yeah.
Is that what I'm understanding? Okay. Okay. So, so that's why you chose to stab her.
Yes.
Okay. And so how did you get the knife? Like, where'd the knife come from? Did you bring it with you from here?
No.
Okay. Did you buy it somewhere?
She bought it for me.
Who bought it for you?
Gypsy.
Where'd she buy it from?
Online.
She bought it online?
Well, Wait, no. It was not online. I gotta get that straight. It's not.
Yeah, don't lie because you don't want to get Gypsy in trouble for something because you're going to lie about it.
I know.
Okay.
I know.
Okay, first of all, ma'am, and this was a big deal. All right. So nobody bought that knife. Gypsy stole that knife from Walmart. She stole that knife from Walmart while she was shopping with Dee Dee. And I'm just gonna leave it like that. He's not, and I the part I have trouble with on this in this situation while she's talking to Nick and the words that she's using is that there's a difference between a lie and misspeaking, right? I did a video on what's her name, the Bernadette Prati, and it's the case that the death of a cheerleader is based on. And I said San Francisco when I meant to say San Diego. Okay, that's misspeaking. A lie is knowing that I knew it was San Diego, but I chose to say San Francisco. And I think that I don't like the way that she goes at him with the lie right here, because I feel like he's not, at this point, he's not trying to lie. He had nothing to do with the knife. Gypsy took care of everything. She's the one that sent him money to get there in the first place. She bought the ticket to for the bus station. She paid for the hotel. She purchased the knife. She planned everything out. She then when they got to the Greyhound bus station and they couldn't get her a ticket to return on the same bus as Nick because it was full. The Greyhound bus attendant said she had an attitude, but she paid for everything. So I feel like it's just like one of those things that's a little bit like, I guess hindsight is 2020, and I'm watching this with the benefit of knowing how this case ended and knowing all the things that they might have not have known at the time. So I just want you guys to know what the deal was, and I shouldn't be so critical of this interrogator. Okay, I feel bad for it now.
She somehow found a way to get one at Walmart. I don't know how she did, but she did.
So you didn't bring a knife from here?
No.
So when you got here, she had a knife?
Yeah.
So did she know you was going to stab her?
Yes.
Okay. So what'd the knife look like?
It had a red and black handle.
Red and black?
Yeah.
Okay. And how long was it?
Gosh. I don't know.
Use your hand.
Okay, so here we go. So now at the time, Nick's parents, when this took place, Nick's parents had been divorced for a lot of years, and Nick was living there. Nick was living at home with his mom, his stepdad, and his siblings. His mom wasn't wild about him going to Springfield. She was worried about him. She didn't know anything about Gypsy. I think, hearing Nick say that, and this part of it wasn't a lie. So when Nick says, Gypsy's mom is overbearing, she's controlling, she doesn't want us to be together. She doesn't want Gypsy to grow up. When he told his mom that stuff, he was telling her things that Gypsy was telling him, and he didn't have any reason not to believe Gypsy. There's no evidence that Nick and Dee Dee ever had any type of contact except for twice, which was the time that Nick came down there to meet Gypsy the first time, and they went to the movies, and then the day of the murder. That's the only time that I know of that there was any that Nick and Dee Dee ever had any type of interaction. So while his mom did not want him to go, he was of legal age, and she felt like there was nothing she could do to stop him. She didn't have guardianship. He was free to do whatever. She didn't have guardianship over him.
hands to show me.
I can maybe that long. Maybe
Was the red and black handle plastic or wood or
it was I'm trying to think, squishy grip. I can't remember what it's
it was a
called.
squishy grip?
Yeah, it's hard to really put into words.
Okay, on the edge of the knife, like if you stab Dee in the bed. What do you think about people that? Okay.
Hold on.
So,
I'm
yeah, when you
looking
were stabbing her,
for this specific part.
maybe you stabbed her more than
Here, it's right there.
you scream or holler the neck.
Damn it.
Okay.
It's and she barely even was covered.
Okay. Only person you do it for is Gypsy. This is the first time you ever.
Okay. Now this part is the part I really want you guys to pay attention to, because I'm not going to say anything. We're just going to listen to this, and then we're going to talk about it, because this part is very, very important, and I don't want to talk over it too much, so I'm going to let it play for the whole time we're going to hear about this, and then we're going to talk about it, because this part is very important. All right, here we go.
Stab anybody.
Yes.
Okay. So when you're stabbing Dee, where is she at?
She's on her stomach.
On her stomach where? On the floor, in the bathtub, or somewhere different?
On her on the oh my gosh. I got it on my mind. Where 1 second.
You're fine. Take your time.
She was on the bed. Her bed.
Her bed. In her bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. So was she sleeping on her stomach or just laying there watching TV or?
Sleeping on her stomach.
Okay, so she's laying in her bed sleeping on her stomach. Is she covered up with covers or uncovered or?
Actually when I did it, it seemed like she had her, it was almost like a nightgown on it seemed like.
Okay,
And she barely even was covered at all.
okay,
So it
okay,
was easy access for a party.
okay. So she didn't have a bunch of covers on her. It made it a lot easier to do that. Okay. And so when she's laying there, where's the first place you decide to stab her?
And I just was in a random spot in the back.
In the back, just random.
Yes.
Do you know how many times you stabbed her?
4.
You stabbed her 4?
Yeah, 4 times.
Okay.
The 4th one, I felt it go into, I think it might have been her lungs.
Okay.
Because it was harder to get out.
Okay. Did it take one hand to get it out? 2 hands?
I had to yank it out
Okay.
with one hand.
Okay. So it did. So the others came out easy, but that one kind of came out harder.
Yep.
Okay. And so, you only stabbed her 4 times? Are you sure about that?
Well, as in stabbing, I stabbed before.
Okay.
But I did actually cut her one other time besides that.
Okay. Where'd you
It was
cut her
on
at?
the back of her neck.
Okay. And did you use the same knife that you
Yep.
did the others with?
Yep.
Okay. And when you did the cross the back of the neck, did that even cause an injury, or did you see any blood or anything?
Yeah, she was bleeding.
Okay, she's bleeding. And so did she scream or holler, or
Yeah, she did.
what was she saying?
First she said help, and then she didn't recognize who I was. And she
Okay.
said, who are you? And then,
She said, "Who are you?"
yeah,
Okay. And she didn't recognize who you are. And she says, "Help." And then what does she say?
and then she called up for Gypsy, but Gypsy didn't do anything.
Okay. She hollered for Gypsy.
Yes,
Did she holler for Gypsy once, twice, 5 times,
3 times.
3 times? And what was she saying? Can you tell me how she said it?
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
This was like, Gypsy.
Okay.
Yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
It didn't stop me from keep on going.
Okay. You just kept stabbing her?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any reason that we would think that maybe you stabbed her more than 4 times?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, did Gypsy come in and stab her?
No.
Gypsy never stabbed her?
She couldn't do it. That's the
Okay.
reason why she asked me to.
Okay. Did you try to get Gypsy to come in and stab her?
No, I would have never done that.
Okay. So when you say 4 actual stabs, so those are the ones that went in deeper?
Yeah.
Was there some little ones? Or
There might have been, because the truth is, I counted the ones that went in deep. I didn't count any other, if there's any other ones.
okay, so if there's any other ones, you just didn't count those because they didn't go in as deep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Now, he's right about the penetrating wounds. Although, the Dee Dee was stabbed. Oh gosh, don't get me lying, y'all. Hold on a minute. I feel like the total is 13. Hold on a minute. Let me hit up the Googles. I have this written down somewhere in the 11 billion notes that I have on this case from 7 years ago, but I don't know where I put it. Hang on a second. Let me look this up really quick. Here we go. Let's see. Hold on. And the reason that this is important is because this, all right. So when the the medical examiner's assistant, he is not an assistant medical examiner. He is the medical examiner's assistant. Okay, the total is 17. That's right, 17. And it's 6 deep ones, and then the rest were hesitation ones. So when the assistant to the medical examiner testified, what he said was that the deep penetrating wounds were inflicted first, and that the rest of this sort of, it's kind of a cluster of stab wounds that they referred to as sort of the shallower, more hesitant stab wounds. They were tentative, were after the fact. And they were even after, so 4 of them were in her back and on her shoulder. And then she had one really deep one to the back of her head, just right behind her ear. And then she had this wound across the back of her neck that was more like, it wasn't really a stab wound. It was more of a sawing wound. And the reason why this has never made sense to me is that Nick is very, very adamant in this interview about how many times he stabbed Dee Dee. And I get that he has almost a flat effect when he is stating this, but I don't think that is because he has a lack of remorse. I think actually Nick has actually spoken about remorse far more than Gypsy ever has with respect to this murder. I think that it's more like he is, I think it's part of who he is. And I think it's part of him maybe being on the spectrum, that he is relaying these stories in sort of a very, matter of fact, I did this and then I did that one after another. I don't think that it's because we're seeing a cold-blooded murderer here. I think what we're seeing is a kid who committed murder who has autism. And that's just what I think. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, who am I really? I mean, I have a good enough diploma. It's just what I think. Oh, thank you, Melissa. Thank you very much. I'm going to say that there has always been a part of me who believed that the tentative hesitation marks were inflicted by Gypsy after the fact. And here's why. Okay. So all the while this is going on, Dee Dee, while Dee Dee is being stabbed in her bedroom across the hall. I mean, it's not even that big of a house, you guys, but across the hall, Gypsy is in the bathroom. This was the plan. This is where they said she would be. She was not going to participate. Okay. However, Gypsy has admitted since while she was in jail prior to the plea agreement and going to prison. There were two people that she was in jail with who said that she talked. And one of the things that she talked about was going into her mother's room after the fact, that she is the one who took the money out of the safe. And I will tell you this, and I want you to think about what we've heard from Nick thus far, okay, and his demeanor and all of this, right? When the cops came and they found Dee Dee in her bedroom, she was completely covered up. Not only was she covered up, she had a stuffed Barney with her, like almost right above her head, laying sort of with her. Okay. Now, we have learned over the years from, from like the FBI when they interview suspects and they talk about their crime, that the majority of time, a stranger will not take the time to cover the victim up because there is no attachment there to them. They don't know them. They do it as it is indicative of somebody who knew the victim. And the truth of the matter is, Nick did not know Dee Dee. When you go back and you read the text messages that were admitted into evidence, which is, of them in the days before, leading up to the murder, finalizing plans, etc. And there were other things that they showed at trial, and we'll get into that when we go over the trial. But Nick didn't know Dee Dee. I mean, it seems like he sort of regarded Dee Dee as the obstacle in the way of being with Gypsy. And so Michelle, she did. And Dee Dee didn't like him. I mean, it was sort of Gypsy set it up so that it would be like they ran into each other at the movie theater, right? So the plan was for Gypsy to sort of run into him at the theater and have some sort, like a hi and everything, but not like a formal introduction, right? And then at some point, she was going to tell her mom, "Oh, by the way, remember that guy from the movie theater?" Sort of like that. So he didn't have any kind of actual like interactions with her, so it wasn't, there would be no and he doesn't talk about it either. He doesn't say anything in this interrogation. After I got done, I covered her up. I personally think that some of the hesitation wounds, some of the wounds were inflicted by Gypsy. And there is there's an interview that Nick gives. There's also some letters where Nick talks about a secret between him and Gypsy that he will never divulge. And up until this point, all of these years later, he hasn't. And I have always wondered in the back of my mind if that's not the secret. If he never said, they did, it was something they did together. And while clearly the wounds that Nick inflicted on Dee Dee were the fatal wounds, I do think that it was it's like a pact they had. And that's why it's a secret that he will take to the grave. And those are his words. And so I do, that's what I think. I've always wondered about that, but we will probably never know. All right. So then it goes on, and, there's a lot of, there's not really much more to it that's super, super important, but it's when we get to this point. Hold on, let me find it.
I remember that part of me, because I could remember myself just pacing constantly, back and forth, up and down the hallway.
Waiting for Gypsy to get done.
Yes, and while I was doing that, oh jeez, I'm nervous.
Okay, well, I know you're nervous, but you've done what's right. Are you hungry? Do you want to eat this?
No.
Okay, so they're at the end of the interview, all right? And the detective has gotten everything that, relative to the crime that she's going to get out of him. So the next thing to do is Nick has injuries on him. Some of the injuries are from when he was arrested. But the main and probably most concerning injury is to his finger, and that he got while he was committing the crime. Okay. So the thing that she asks him is, she says something to the effect of, after somebody has, confessed, like, I don't think she uses the word confess, done something like this, I always like to give them an opportunity to write like an apology letter. Is there anybody that you want to apologize to? And that's what he's talking about while he's nervous and stuff. Okay. And she says, all right, I'll be back. And the other detective, the one that interviews Gypsy, comes back into the room, and he starts to photograph Nick's injuries. And then he leaves again. And I wrote this down. Okay, hold on. Now, we're getting to the part, you guys, where if you, it's going to be kind of hard to hear. So I would really, really suggest you put earbuds in or turn the volume on your TV up if you need to. But I'll give a warning. I'll pause the video, and then I'll tell you what he says, because I can hear him clear as day. All right, hold on.
Me and I actually held together until.
Hold on, I went too far.
Freaking screwed. I'm freaking screwed. I did it for her and only for her. Not for us. So yeah, it was for us.
Okay. He said, I did that for her, only for her, actually for us. So yeah, it was for us.
I wouldn't have did it if it wasn't for us.
I wouldn't have did it if it wasn't for us.
I knew it was the only way to be together.
Because I knew it was the only way for us. Because I knew it was the only way for us to be together.
I'd apologize to everyone.
I'd apologize to everyone.
Everyone except for Dan.
Everyone except for Dan.
Dan's the only one I would not apologize to.
Dan is the only one I would not apologize to.
Apparently she decided to just go with it.
Yeah, because she just decided to go with him.
Screw it.
And screw it.
Me, I actually held together until
Me, I actually held together until
I learned that you didn't lie. I said screw it, I just said the truth then too.
until they told me she told the truth, and then I said, screw it, I'll just tell the truth then too.
It was all that time and I'm finally getting my blood back. The thing is if I tell the truth, like I just did, yeah, it flipping sucks just having to say it.
He said, the thing is, if I tell the truth, yeah, she's dead. It flippin' sucks that I did it.
I really just want the best possible outcome to this as possible.
This part's accurate.
I wonder what it is.
I wonder what it is.
I want to know what it is.
I want to know what it is.
Get the best out for me as possible. She said she'd get the best out for me as possible.
She said she'd do the best for me as possible. That part I can't quite make out.
The reason I said all this is because it's better to just let it all out.
The reason I said all this is because it's better just to let it all out.
I honestly don't think there's anything else I could do anyway.
I honestly don't think there's much I could do anyways.
I really don't like this situation at all.
I really don't like this situation at all.
I feel horrible.
I feel horrible.
I miss Gypsy, don't get me wrong. The thing is that she kind of
I miss Gypsy. The thing is that she kind of.
thought she was going to protect me, but then
I thought she was going to protect me, but then
she said the truth.
she said the truth.
I don't know if she did it because she lives going to give me the best.
I don't know if she did it because in this part I can't understand.
I have a question for that lady.
I have a question for that lady.
Does Gypsy even want to see me?
Does Gypsy even want to see me?
I feel like she betrayed me.
I feel like she betrayed me. All right. So that's really all there is to that part. Okay. But the part that I wanted you guys to hear is about Dan. Okay. He is angry at Dan. Now, if you guys go to Gypsy's interrogation, all right, and I covered it in the video about Gypsy's interrogation. So if this is before the detectives from Missouri get there, and she's chatting it up with the officer who is keeping an eye on her, okay, and she's talking about phone numbers. And she says that there's only like 2 phone numbers that she knows, like she has memorized. And one of them is her ex-boyfriend. And he's not speaking to me right now. He's kind of mad at me. That's Dan. Okay. And then in the days leading up to the murder, there is a text exchange between Nick and Gypsy. Okay. Where Gypsy asks Nick if it is okay if before he comes down, if she meets with this guy and just, uh, you know, does the horizontal mambo just the one time because she's being tempted and that she's going to see him on Thursday. So that will take care of that. I believe, and so do many other people, that she's talking about Dan. Also, after she's arrested and she talks to her dad and her stepmother, she asks Christy to call Dan. Now, I didn't know any of this while Nick's trial was going on, but there was this part in the trial that had me, frankly, stumped. Okay. And I'm going to tell you what it is. Give me just un momentito. All right. So, the state is putting on their case. And let me find it. The state is putting on their case. And one of the pieces of evidence that they put on against Nick Godejohn is an interview that he did with a reporter while he was in jail awaiting trial. And I want you to listen to this. And then when you listen to it, you will understand why, hold on a second, why this got stuck in my crawl. And it was absolutely stuck in my crawl. Hold on. All right, so let me share it. This is also, let me put this in the chat. This is also from, well, I gotta censor myself just a little, I've got to keep it guidelines friendly. Okay. Yes, Gypsy will be released December 28th. And listen, before we get started, I just want to say this. I know that Gypsy is going to do this Lifetime thing, right? She's going to give an interview and she's probably going to go on a whole press junket, a whole tour. Okay. And I'm going to watch. Okay. But this is the part that makes me nervous about Gypsy. Okay. Nothing much has really changed in her belief system relative to the crime since Dr. Phil. And that Dr. Phil interview, although I would love to be able to play it for you guys, I can't because I will get a copyright claim faux show. If not, my stream will be interrupted. She will not visit Nick. She won't have anything to do with Nick. She doesn't care. And they're actually, I don't even think they're allowed to talk. I know they weren't allowed to talk when they were awaiting trial. This is the other thing that's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up, Katie, because it reminded me of something that I'm on a whole other tangent. So you guys know how my brain works, and I'm taking that, because you're all here, I'm taking that as a sign that you accept the way my brain works, and you're just going to deal with it. I appreciate you for it too. So while Gypsy and Nick were being held at the same jail, okay, before extradition back to Missouri, Gypsy was trying very hard to pass notes to Nick, something that was not allowed. You are not allowed to speak to the co-defendant in that kind of a case. And I think personally she was worried. I think that until Gypsy had that plea deal secured, I think that she worried constantly that Nick was going to say whatever it was that was this huge secret between the two of them. And to be honest with you, I mean, what secret could Nick really have that would be that Gypsy would worry about? And that could only be that she in some way participated, even if it was after the fact. That's just what I think. I've always thought that. So anyway, back to the video. I feel like I'm having deja vu. Like I've already had this talk with you guys, and I've already said all the things that I just said and I'm about to say. That's really weird. So for just a minute. But with Gypsy, her attitude about the crime hasn't changed since the Dr. Phil interview. She's there's been some stuff has come out here and there about just she doesn't think that she needs therapy. She's perfectly fine. She served her time and now she's done. So she was sentenced to serve 10 years, Violet, and by Missouri law, she must serve 85 or 80% of her time. And then she'll be eligible for parole. Listen, and that's the thing. She was eligible to apply for parole. Okay, that's what that means. That doesn't necessarily mean she would be granted parole. And I personally believed that if any of Dee Dee's siblings had come forward and spoke out and said that they didn't think that she should be paroled, that they probably wouldn't have granted it. However, on the bright side of things, because she is on parole, she is subject to certain conditions. Now, I don't know exactly what her conditions will be, but she will have to, she'll be on some type of, supervised, and that's what parole is. So she'll have some guidelines. And I hope that one of those guidelines is therapy, and that it's 85%. Nick is life without the possibility of parole. And I hope that one of those stipulations to her parole is for her to have therapy, because I would, under any other circumstances, I would say you cannot force people into therapy. But and you can't really, but what I'm hoping for is that she knows if she gets it and she goes, right, even though she doesn't want to go. Sometimes when that happens, if you get the right therapist, right, and you guys click, there's something that the therapist will say, and all of a sudden it'll click with you, it'll resonate with you, and you'll want to participate. And that is what I'm hopeful for. Okay, now let's get to what I really wanted to show you about this interview. All right. We put the closed captions on, make it big full screen. Let me add it to the stream, and here we go.
What
Wow.
exactly happened
That's
when you
only to
came
what, of
inside
course,
the
is
house?
true.
Like, did
But
Gypsy
yeah.
open the door to you and like let you in? Like, she was obviously.
Oh yeah, she was deeply involved with it. I mean, just like it says in his police statements, like I said, right with while I was talking to them, it says just pretty much word for word what I told them. She told me before I ended up getting there in a text that there was latex gloves that be on the porch. She did say that. Right on the text is clear as day that you can actually see it. And then, well, I ended up finding them when I got there, and I let her know that I was at the door. She opened the door, and she made sure I had the gloves on before she gave me the weapon, and she made sure that she wouldn't let me open the door. She made sure I had those gloves on before either of those doors opened. So that's the reason why you ain't gonna see any fingerprints on in there, either any of that stuff. And then from that point on, well, my darker part of me took over, and because she knew right away that I admitted straight out to the whole thing that I was not going to get involved with this, no matter how much she tried to push me. It was going to have to be a darker side of me of some form that I have never had the opportunity to explore. So I did not know what it was capable of until that dark night. Once that night came, I knew fully well what it was capable of. And at that point there was no time going back because this from the first step I walked into the house, I knew there was no going back. There was two thoughts that came in my mind. One was a benevolent thought, another one was a malevolent thought. It was almost like having a devil on one shoulder and a angel on the other. Basically what happened was I had one thought in my mind out of nowhere appear, and it just appeared. I didn't know. It was almost like, I guess you could call it God, is what everyone likes to call it. Him talking to you, or an angel talking to you through him, maybe. Basically saying, take her and run. That was the benevolent thought. Take her and run. As if,
All right, now you guys know I have to pause for fair use, and also because it has to be transformative enough in nature that it makes it significantly distinct and only unique to my channel. This interview was played, and it was used to exemplify that he had he formed the necessary deliberation. This description that he's giving of he had a benevolent thought and a malevolent thought, right? And he described it as being like an angel or like a demon, right? That is what the state is saying is his deliberation. And in a way, right, he acknowledges that his first thought was to take her and run. Okay, so let's hear what his second thought. Okay.
it was the kind of feeling that it was basically trying to influence on me, as if I was somehow going to get away with it if I ran away with her. As if somehow we were able to keep her mom at bay better than she was able to in the past when she ran away. However, the other thought came in my mind was because it saw as basically because the darker part of me was also in love with the darker part of her, and because of it, the thought was is excuse my French, but it basically said this bitch is dead. Not letting her get between me and her. This bitch is dead. Basically, is what the thought was, and uh, unfortunately, I ended up listening to my darker side because I wanted to be with her, and I remember what she said, and I wanted to believe what she was saying, and unfortunately, I should have listened to my other part of me. Uh, ironic as I was trying to influence her to go with, but she never went with it. She never wanted to run away. So
All right, that's a very, very, very important point. And this is accurate. Okay. Nick is telling the truth here. It's not like Gypsy reached out to him on their Christian dating site, right? And her first sentence was, I want you to unalive my mother. That it's not, it didn't happen like that. It took her 3 years to get him to do this. And in the interim of that, Nick actually reached out to a former girlfriend and told this girl, listen, this is what she wants me to do. And unfortunately, I think that the girl took it as, quite frankly, it was something that was never going to happen. That that Gypsy, both of them were both being dramatic. Really, I think that that was her sort of take on the situation. And I think that for Nick, what he's talking about here is he clearly doesn't have a grasp on the situation accurately. Okay. The truth of the matter is that he absolutely could have taken Gypsy and run. Gypsy is an adult. He is an adult. She, you know, there would be nothing stopping him. And if he didn't take things so literally and take Gypsy at her word as if she was telling the truth about every single thing as it happened, you can tell in the exchanges that are public that there isn't a whole lot of questions like you and I would ask. Like, for example, when she ran away the first time, okay, and she took ID with her that she knew, you know, that proved her age, that showed that she was of a legal age, okay? How come when the mutual friend called Dee Dee and Dee Dee came to pick her up, if Gypsy was as young as Dee Dee was claiming, how come Dee Dee never pressed charges? How come she didn't do anything about it? There were no questions like that. There were no questions like when it came out that there was just no follow-ups to any of those things. And I don't know. Let's just keep going.
I couldn't get that to work. But anyways, as the whole thing happened, she ended up as I was walking through the hallway that led to her room, her mom's room, and so forth. Uh, she ended up going to the bathroom. She locked it, and I waited at least a minute and thought about if I really wanted to do it. And before I was to do it, allegedly, I was willing to do it. The next thing I know, I ended up going right into it and thought there was no going back because I had myself on my word, and I was not one to break my word to really anyone at all if I had one to keep at the time. If it was worth keeping, I was going to keep it, and that's what led me
Nick,
to
the
do
video
it.
is going to cut off in a
I
minute.
loved her so
But
deeply that I
remember
was not
whatever
going to
you
change
just
my
did
mind.
to that thing.
I
And should we
didn't
try
want to
again
break my word.
tomorrow?
Oh,
Bye.
okay. Yep. All right. Sounds good.
This is not the video that I wanted. There is a hold on. I'm gonna stop this. There is a second video, and there's a second visit, and it's the one that was played at trial. Let me see if I can find it at the trial. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find it. That's not what I wanted. Damn it. Hold on. I have to put it here. There's a second part to that interview, and this is the part that I want. Dadgummit, why did it do this? Hold on. Although that interview is very telling, it's another interview with her. Hold on a second. Let me find it. Let me try this. I think this is the one we already. Yeah. There's another part to this, and I'm going to have to find it for you guys, and we'll play it tomorrow night when we play his trial, because that one is quite telling. But the last thing that he left, the thing that he said in that, at the end of that video, is he talked about he got, he gave his word, and he felt like it was serious. So yeah, I mean, it's a whole sad case. It really is. And I really thought that was it. Anyway, I'll play it tomorrow night. Don't forget, tomorrow night, Melissa Jade has a live, and Crime Curious has her podcast with Chris Welch, and they're going to, did I say that right? Sometimes I always second guess myself. Where's Crime Curious? Hold on a minute. Let me make sure I have it right. Let me see. I'm almost positive that's what it is, but I always forget, and I don't want to get it wrong. Yes, Chris Welch. That's right. Okay. I was right. I don't know why I always second guess myself. But anyway, they have their Unless and Until podcast tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So after their live, I will be live, and I will find that part of the trial, and we're going to talk about the trial because it's important. And yes, today is Melissa Jade's birthday. Happy birthday, Melissa. I don't know if you're still here. I sang to her this morning, but let me sing to her again right quick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Melissa Jade. Happy birthday to you. There you go. So, here's the thing. This is why I don't think that this will work. Florida is a stand your ground state. Texas is a stand your ground state, and I've lived in both of them. I think the problem here is stand your ground means that there is an imminent threat to you, or you and someone you love, right? The threat is right there. It's imminent. Now, could Dee Dee be seen as an imminent threat yes. But here's the deal. You can't, if it's an imminent threat, you cannot spend 3 years trying to convince someone else to take care of that imminent threat for you. So that is where Thank you, Anaphylaxis, who said it much better than I. Stand your ground just means that you have no duty to retreat. This case does not fit that law, and it doesn't, because there was nothing in that moment. Now, for stand your ground. However, there could be an argument made for the battered spouse defense, because the abuse goes on over a long amount of time. And even though the person there might not have been an altercation in that moment, you're conditioned to think that it's imminent all the time. And so the argument is that you're sort of always in that flight, fight, or freeze. But for the law intent purposes, it's more like the fight or flight. And so that might have been a defense potentially. But again, you cannot have, in that situation, you cannot spend 3 years prior to that trying to convince a third party to come in and unalive and unalive the threat, as it were. So you know, oh, did Patricia give us another limerick? Let me see. Okay, let's see. My Charlie Adelson limerick by Patricia. There once was a dentist who thought that a hitman was easily bought, but his sister, who's cracked, wanted her ex to be whacked and made sure the dentist was caught. Oh, that's a good one. I like it. So yeah, that's a good one, Patricia. I love it. All right, so there we go. We're going to continue this discussion tomorrow night. We're going to get into it with Nick's trial, and we'll talk about it. And I will find that second visitation interview, because that's the one that bugged me. And I know that they played it at trial. But anyway. All right, you guys, thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't done so already, give your girl a thumbs up on the video, if you wouldn't mind. And until we meet again, I say good night, and I will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye.